about a year into Zach and I's work together, I had asked him where God was in his life, proximity-wise. And he said that God is somewhere in the universe. Now, I know that is pretty far away, right? And that my goal with Zach was for him to invite God to be closer to him. And that was something that we were working on. And so I had invited Zach. I actually posed a question to him. I said, what do you think would happen if you invited God into the atmosphere of the earth instead of just the atmosphere? And he paused for a moment. He was kind of reflective, and he touched his heart. And he said, I feel that. Like, I really feel like I could do that. I could invite God to the atmosphere of the earth. So it was encouraging Zach and saying that God, he doesn't force himself on anyone. So that God would need an invitation, that he would have to ask God, can you please come into the realm of the atmosphere of the universe, the atmosphere of the earth, so that he could be closer to Zach. And so he said he would do it. And as he was walking away, he was walking down my hill, and he was walking toward his car. And I just said, Zach, don't forget to ask. And he just turned around and he kind of nodded a little bit, and he's like, I will. And then he left. And oh my gosh, I was praying for him so much. I didn't know what our Lord was going to do. But I saw Zach maybe 2 weeks later. And we were talking about our normal stuff. And then he says to me, some really weird stuff happened to me in the last couple of weeks. And I said, oh yeah, what's been going on? And he said that one day he was at a convenience store buying snacks for his brothers. And it was really late at night. And that a young man was standing behind him in line and said to Zach, hey, are those snacks for the munchies? And Zach turned around and he's like, yeah. And he said, they're for my brothers. And the young man said, okay. And then Zach bought the snacks, went to his car, and the young man followed him out and knocked on the car window, on the passenger side window. And Zach rolled down the window and he's like, yeah. And the young guy goes, hey man, I just want you to know that I really care about you, and I really care about how you're doing. And I just want you to know that you're really loved. Like, I love you, man. You're loved a lot. And Zach was shocked and was like, okay. And the young man turned around and walked away, and Zach rolled up his window. And as he's telling me this story, he was kind of checking to see like my reaction or what I was going to say, but I didn't say anything. And I said, well, what did you think about that? And he goes, I don't know. He said, but another thing happened like a couple of days later. I was at a different convenience store, and there was this big black guy that was working behind the counter, and I was buying a vape or whatever. And the guy behind the counter says to me, how are you doing? And he said, I lied to him. I said I was doing fine. And the guy is like, no, I really want to know how you're doing. Like, I really care. And Zach said, well, I'm not doing so good. And the man said, I just really want you to know that how you're feeling really matters to me, and that I love you. I love you, man, and I really want to know these things. And Zach's like, okay, thanks, and turned around and left. And then Zach looked at me and he said, what happened to me? And I said, I don't know. What do you think happened to you? He said, no, I want you to go first. And I said, Zach, did you invite God into the atmosphere of the earth? He said, yes. And I said, I think that was God. And he actually got really animated, which you didn't really see Zach do that very often, but he kind of got animated and excited. And he's like, bro, I knew it was God. I knew it was God the first time. And then I really knew it was God the second time. I knew it was God. And he was so excited about it. And, the sheer fact that both of the men said the exact same thing to Zach, and that it was about how he was doing and how he was feeling and what was going on. And, that God was really trying to break in to Zach's world and met him right where he was. It's just so spot on for God. And that Zach knew who it was. He knew God. And what I'm so grateful for our Lord is that Zach had an experience, a real encounter with our Lord before he died. And my hope is that he just really recognized God's voice, that he just recognized it and could easily say yes to our Lord. So